The megatrend from documentation to monitorization might be that megatrend that has the hugest potential to change the world as we know it. Documentation is what happens when you register the way that you use your time. I don't know if they exist, but I haven't yet met a person who loved doing that whole, documentation and how I spent my time. And funnily enough, there's never a box that you can tick up that says picking my nose or updating my Facebook profile or time spent drinking coffee. Seems like we are all being effective all the time. So what happens when we document is that we are asked to give a worldview. How do we see the way that we spend our time? If you ask obese people how much they eat during a day, they actually underreport with up to 30%. So it's garbage in, garbage out. Monitorization is what happens when we log data in a system or a device like an iPhone or a smart app or a computer. So if you do any physical exercise, you probably know that many people already use a Nike app or a Garmin computer, or you see these Nike fuel bands coming out that would monitor how much you move during a day, and then you can earn Nike fuel points, and that motivates people to do an extra effort. Not everybody, but many people, when it becomes much more transparent around what they actually do when they spend their time and which impact it has on their body, then they become much more motivated. My husband has a new car, and that new car has what is called an eco drive, and that means that my driving is getting monitorized by the car, and then the car gives me a rating afterwards, and I got a 2 out of 10, which means that I have a huge potential to become a better driver. And the funny thing is that when my husband tells me this, he gives me this negative feedback, then I become really annoyed because of course he's right, but I don't want to listen to him. But when the car gives me this feedback, then I'm thinking, aha, well, I'm driving anyway, so I might as well improve my skills to driving. So imagine going to work in the future and you will have a training device where you don't have just your to-dos, but you also have your to-bes. What is it that I want to become? And you can actually track and monitor your progress towards this, and it will give you feedback that will actually show a real-life positive impact on your personal life. That will, of course, be fantastic. But many people are also saying, hey, what will happen with all this data? This is the reason why Google and YouTube and Tesco and so on are worth a lot of money, is because they have access to all this data and they are logging in their computers how we live our lives. Do we really want everybody to have access to this data, or do we want to keep it for ourselves? What's going to happen with it? So if you want to be successful in the future, you need to move away from analyzing data. Analysis is not just a job anymore. It's not a job to do reports. It's a job to look at the world from a holistic viewpoint and having access from a lot of different data, and then thinking about not what went wrong, but what if and what could happen and where do we move from here. I heard that in Silicon Valley they're talking about the technological mullet, so that in the future successful companies, also small businesses, will have a technological mullet. So you need to be very simple, short hair in front, long hair in back. You need to be very simple in your user interface, and then you need to have this big data in the back where you can monitor real life positive impact.